just a broad question for you, Dr. Kethireddy. Why should I look at automating my research process versus using my residents in the manners we do today?
Yeah, that's a great question. It gets to the fundamental question of what type of research or what qualifies as research, what is of interest to an individual, to our organization. The research or questions that sort of are at resident level often are observational in nature, chart reviews, retrospective. All of those are just fine to qualify as research. However, there is the lift in order to get to that point for an individual is considerable if you try to scale that across an organization, not having had anything in place before that started. That's sort of number one. Number two, sort of just collecting data for observational work or even as a registry. It's a lot of effort that goes into a flat file that really can't be modified if you need more data elements or the types of questions change, the nature of the questions change, you need time signatures, or you need a high density data. Very, very difficult to collect manually. And once that becomes encoded and that effort is spent, it becomes very difficult to reuse that in different types of questions. So the idea is yes, you could easily do an observational study with a resident, but trying to scale that with 400 or 500 variables for a registry becomes very difficult and almost makes it impossible to do in short time spans. So it really gets to the question of what qualifies as research, what is the goals of the research, and future for those types of questions. So what we have envisioned was, a product that needed to satisfy our graduate medical education program as a whole across the system, needed to satisfy my departmental work in critical care through the COVID pandemic, while we were also collaborating with institutions across the country with our own observations. So we needed to have both time and quite a bit of data in a variety of categories encoded almost in near real time. And so that almost is impractical and infeasible using residents. To give you an example, we did a study with the University of Maryland where one of my colleagues had several residents trying to abstract 300 or 400 fields. It took a resident many hours for one chart, and we were able to abstract all of our COVID data for all of those fields within a matter of minutes. So the ability to answer many, many more questions in time really allows you to focus more on the research question than actually on the process of doing it, which is not a scalable approach when doing it manually.